You're listening to the Performance Group Podcast, a place to listen, learn, and get to know the unseen heroes of our local community. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Sean Kirby, and on the Performance Group Podcast, we make it our mission to learn from those around us and shed light on our local community. If you're new to the show, we have spoken to business leaders, community organizers, friends, and family. And before we jump in today, I hope to ask you for a favor. If you could please just take 1 second to hit subscribe and share our posts. It would mean a whole lot to me, our team here at the Performance Group, and our amazing guests on today's show.
I was much happier.
What's your CRM?
Sweep and Go. So they have, there's a bunch of different ones too. There is like Jobber.
Yeah, that's the one I've heard of.
Yes.
That's what Casey Adams talked about on her podcast. That's
yes.
what she uses.
Yes, Jobber was good. Sweep and Go is great because it is just geared for our industry.
What?
Yeah, it is just for us.
So the Pooper Scooper software.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
How niche is that? You know what I mean? That's the most niche thing I've ever heard of.
But the great thing is, the guy who runs it.
It's affordable.
It's very, you can call him and text him and he'll immediately talk to you and help you and fix things. So he's very, not attainable, but I don't know what the word is.
Yeah. Available?
Available, thank you. He's very available.
This is sweet. So talk to me about Sweep and Go. How did you find it? What made you use it?
So
what made you get into using a CRM versus,
Yeah, so we originally had 20 people. So as it grew, we were doing like 5, then 10, then 15. And I'm like, I'll just keep it pen and paper. I'll do it, on my phone, all individual text messages to everybody. And then we got to 20, and then we got to 25, and I'm like, this is way too many people to text on the same day, and they're all individual. I liked that, like that was fun, but I'm like, I can't keep up. And so there's a Facebook page actually about different pet waste removal companies, and so I asked a ton of questions, and they're like, check this CRM out. And I'm like, okay. So we went and did that, and like, it's so much easier. Everything is on board the same page. So I'm like, I just made it much easier for myself. So we signed up for that after I think 25 clients, and I let everyone know. We emailed everyone like, this is the new CRM. You're gonna pay. Your credit card is going to be on file. It's not going to be PayPal. It's not going to be cash, a check, like nothing else. Everything will be streamlined. So that was the goal, and that was what we wanted to do.
Made it a lot easier.
Yes.
Everybody's on a recurring bill.
Yes. Everyone, they sign up. It's very short form. They fill out and they put their card on, and I'm out there the next day.
Hot dog.
Yeah. So it works out really good.
So if I were to say get started on your website, can I do everything right away?
Mm-hmm. You would just put in your zip code, and I'll tell you how many dogs you have, and then you would type in 1, 2, 3, whatever.
I have 2 dogs. Do you charge for bigger dogs?
They're all the same. So we just charge per dog. So if they're however many dogs.
Have you expanded into other types of animals?
No, not at all.
Chickens?
Mm-mm. I've had
horse manure? Probably think about that.
That's heavy duty work. That's not an in and out job.
No.
But I've had requests for goose waste, and that's very tricky. So people who live on golf courses and ponds, and they'll have the geese come right up, and that is very tedious. It's very hard to get. So that's kind of like an additional 2-3 dogs is like I'm required for that. So we'll just stick to the dog waste.
I don't blame you.
It's much easier.
All right, Cathi. I like this. I'm currently getting my free estimate for your website.
Yeah.
So Cathi, thank you so much for being here today. Cathi from Speedy Scoop. Sorry guys, we were nerding out on some CRM, customer relationship managers talk. Cathi came to me after listening to the Casey Adams episode and said, hey, I've got a story for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, yeah, I like stories. Let's hear it. So Cathi, why don't you start with a 3,000 square foot visual of how you got into Speedy Scoop, what made you think that this was a good idea, and where you are today.
Sure. So thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I really wanted to just share our story because I'm a mom. I'm super passionate about why I'm in this business, because I didn't grow up wanting to be a pooper scooper. I went to school for nursing. I went to school for a licensed massage therapist. I did all these things prior. Then I had kids, and my oldest son, who was 7 at the time, so we started it July 2020. So COVID, everyone's stuck in the house, everyone, can't go anywhere. So my 7-year-old at the time was playing in his room, and he was looking out his window and he sees my neighbor, and he's like, oh, what is that? Like, they had a service come. And I said, oh, that's a pet waste removal company, and this is what they do. They help keep the yards clean. And he's like, well, I could do that. I said, absolutely, you totally can. So us as a homeschool family, we want to share like the entrepreneurial side of things and share these different opportunities. I mean, there's kids babysitting, mowing lawns, shoveling snow, raking leaves, and I'm like, well, why not? Why not him? So we never forced him. We never said, this is what you have to do and you have to have so many people. So we just encouraged him. We're like, hey, let's look online, let's get some information. So after we did that, we made a little business Facebook page, and my husband is in business, so he's very much like dot the I's, cross the T's, make sure everything looks legit and professional. We're not, fly by night, let's slap, an ad up and like that's it. We had him in a nice like looking uniform. We posted his picture. He said, he's 7 years old. He's looking to start, a pet waste business to save money for Legos or whatever he was asking for at the time. So we did that, and he was busy for 4 months straight. So our schedule was, he would homeschool afternoons, he would do lunch, and then afterwards we would go out for 1 or 2 hours, but always together. I was never dropping him off. We were always meeting the clients. They would hang out and like talk to us out in the yard while he's cleaning up, and we're building those relationships, and he's learning communication, he's learning organization. He's got like his little calendar, and he's like, Mrs. Jones on Tuesday at 4 o'clock or whatever, So he was learning all those skills at 7 years old, and I was like, that's so amazing for him, these opportunities. And we always said, like, are you okay doing it? Like, do you like it? We always kept it very sanitary, always gloves, always the disinfectant wipes, our gloves, not our gloves, our boots, and our tools. So we kept it very clean. He was never touching anything dirty. And so we were like, it blew up for people wanting to support him. And I was just so thankful. And he, his confidence was growing, and he felt so good. He was able to buy these Lego sets that he wanted, and he got to see that, if I work hard, I get this, so that was more important to me than anything. So down the line, 4 months later, we get a call from the state saying, hey, you need to shut down your business. And I said, excuse me, like, why do I have to do that? There's kids, like I said, mowing grass, they're cleaning up leaves, they're babysitting other kids, and they're completely underage, and that's legal, like that's fine. And the girl on the phone was, well, you're physically driving him out of your neighborhood, it's not just, in your community. And I said, okay, so she's like, he can't do that because that's illegal in Indiana, you have to be 14. So my husband and I put a very little bit amount of money into it already. And we asked, okay, if we take him off of every like marketing, everything, his name, his picture, all of that, and my husband and I kind of took over, would that be okay? Could we still run the business? And she said, absolutely fine. So we have revamped everything. We had like, a friend was so sweet, and she made the first logo for him for free, and we got business cards for it, and we got like marketing material, and we had to throw it all away. So we revamped it because we did all of it ourselves. The website, we did the cards, we did the flyers and everything. So we revamped it. We hired a professional to redo our website, to connect our CRM, Sweep and Go on there. So everything became streamlined. We became a little bit more serious because we were growing. We had like 25 clients weekly within 4 months, for him doing it extremely part-time. Mm-hmm. So we're like, oh, this is a thing, like this is continuing to grow. And we told everybody, we said, hey, this is what happened. I don't want to pull the wool over your eyes. Like, this is not a scam. Like, this is what happened. My son cannot come on the property. For him, it's illegal, what they say. It's okay if you want to quit. We won't feel bad or anything. So we let them know, like, you're not going to be hiring a 7-year-old anymore. Like, yeah. This is what happened. So they were all like, oh my gosh, that's so awful, that's crazy. No, absolutely, like, we would love to have you guys still work for our family. So I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, I was expecting all of them to fall. Yeah, and instant, no, we don't want to support this family. So, and this was a complete side hustle. My husband works full time. I am homeschooling my 3 kids. So this is completely side hustle. and extra for fun. More so for my son learning those amazing entrepreneurial skills, but they didn't quit. And I was like, that's when I knew, I was like, this has to continue. Like, we're going to continue it for him. So my message really for this, sharing the podcast and our story, is I'm showing my kids we're going to be continuing this for them. Like, that's, if they want to, they don't have to do this business. They could be in the field if they want to. They could be behind the scenes working if we hire employees, working behind the scenes doing like the business and the marketing side. There's just so many aspects to this that we could pass down to our kids. So that's more like what I want to do for them, especially with this job market, and you never know what's going to happen. But if they want to do it, it's available to them, and that's kind of the goal. So once we figured out like this is a thing and we're going to keep it going, and we're teaching our son like, this is persistence, this is customer service, this is our right to continue. Like, we don't have to be bullied to shut down. So I wish I knew who the anonymous caller was to shout us out, but I will never know. So it's just, so from that moment, the fire in my belly was, no one is going to shut our family down and take those opportunities away from my kids. When other kids get praised and on news and they get acclimated for their hard work at 7, 8, 9 years old, which they should be they should be acknowledged and recognized for their hard work. And I don't know why we were targeted. So that's my driving force of keeping it going, basically, for Speedy Scoop. And my son started it 2 years ago, but he came up with the name he did everything himself. So I was like, how did you come up with the name Speedy Scoop? And he said, I just liked it. He literally was walking out to play and he's like, what about Speedy Scoop? And I said, I love that. That's perfect. So he really did all of it, and we're just there to help him to do it.
So is he still involved at all on the back end? Just kind of, do you talk about the numbers
yes.
and say, hey, this is still where we are?
Yep, we talk to him, we tell, hey, we've gotten more clients. Hey, this is how dad is doing the business part of it, or the back end, or how we're billing people, how we're communicating with them. So he is aware of that, which I'm proud that he wants to know more, and he's always asking. Or like, we'll be playing at the park or walking around, and I still have cards in my car, and he'll see someone with a dog and he's like, hey, we should just pass out a business card. Like, his mind is thinking that. So I'm just like, at 9 now, so he's 9. And I'm like, I would never think like that at 9, but he's doing that himself. And I'm like, sure, go get a card and hand it to him if you want to. So those little bits, he still is kind of around the business and talking about it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
How's his spirit with everything?
He's bummed. He really wants to be on the property helping out. And I've kind of thought about, maybe, because school has started, so he can't be on for school hours at all. I was thinking maybe on Saturdays he can come with me sometimes, but I'm never going to advertise he's coming. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but just, for 4 or 5, yards or something, just so he kind of can be in the mix of it all.
Yeah.
But I still have decided, I'm going to wait probably to do that, just so he's a little bit older. But I'm still nervous to have him on site just because of what we had such a backlash of him on the properties. So I'm still trying to protect our business because it's been a legit business. So I don't want to ruin that, and it's been very well.
So were they worried about taxes? Other than just saying, hey, child labor laws.
Yep. I really don't know. They didn't give us a whole lot. They just said they had an anonymous caller call, and he cannot be seen on the property because he's 7 years old and it's illegal until you're 14. And I never understood. They could never give me an answer, because I said, all these other kids, they do side jobs and they do other things. And they're like, well, you're physically driving him all these places and taking him. I'm like, well, how else is he going to get there?
He could drive himself if you want to see something that's really illegal.
I know. It's crazy. So that was really like my passion, is just to continue it for him. And again, if he wants to do it, he can. If not, he can do something else. But there's just so many aspects of it. Like, if he wants to go to business school to learn the back end of it, and he wants to learn how to market and advertise and sales, there's just so much. So he can or he can't. It's all up to him. So we're providing that opportunity for him.
Okay. That's great. So let's talk about the tools needed in order to have a business like this. So obviously low barrier to entry. I would assume it started with a shovel. What kind of equipment are you guys into now? Are you into the ones with like the grabby hands that old people have on the mowers?
No. So it is super low. We have a 5-gallon painter's bucket. I never even got like a fancy bucket at Lowe's. Like it is a 5.
I don't know why you would need you're putting poop in it.
No,
So
don't need anything. We have lined bags. We have the Costco bags. We put them in a 5-gallon bucket, and we have a rake and a scoop. So it's not a shovel. So it's got the pan and the rake. So we are scooping it right in, and then we're dumping it into a lined bag. We tie it up, double bag it, and put it in the people's garbage. That's it.
That's it.
And then we use Virkon. We could have used bleach, but Virkon is a little bit better for disinfecting for animal waste. So we spray that on the tools and the boots after every scoop and wipe it down.
So if you were to step into a yard, these are going to be some off-the-wall questions before we get back into why Indiana, shut you down. How many, landmines would you say are in the average yard?
I would say I fill up half to full buckets each week because we have weekly and bi-weekly customers. So it's full and half full most of the time.
How many is that?
Hundreds.
Hundreds of
Hundreds of. Even if you have little Chihuahuas to the Great Danes, it's
just everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure you could pick a dog by what you see?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We could see if there's like a bunch of little dogs, and they'll say, "I have 4 dogs," and there'll be like 2 little ones and 2 big ones. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I can figure this one must be a bull mastiff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was a pretty big dog.
Yes. So we just clean it up for them, and they're so thankful. So many of our clients are elderly, or they're pregnant, or they're recovering from surgery. So it's not because they're lazy; they don't want to do it. They're just like, oh, what else? What can I throw my money at, to waste it? It's a needed service, and they're so grateful for it. And I'm so thankful we can provide that for our community. We live in the community, we're serving our community, and that's what I'm super excited about. Like, we can help lessen the burden for them, and their yards and their kids and their dogs are healthier for that. They're not playing in this, mess of a yard.
That's true. One of the things that you wanted to talk about was that it's not a fertilizer. And why is it not a fertilizer?
There's a lot of diseases, a lot of parasites in the waste that can go into the streams, can go into different animals, can have it on their paws, track it through your house. It's not healthy, it's not sanitary, it's not something you want on your property. You need to get rid of it as soon as you can.
Is it better or worse than cat poop?
Well, if it's a cat, you'd hope it would be in the litter box.
Yeah,
it's pretty contained, and you could just dump it right in the garbage.
So just dogs at the moment, maybe some geese in the future.
I don't know. Those are tricky. Those are real hard.
Oh,
I'll leave those to the professionals. I think they'll have to do those.
Just hose them out. So what are some of the things that you feel like you've learned about business since you are also new to business during this process?
Yeah, my husband handles the back end of all the business stuff because he went to school for that. He has his bachelor's in that. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm a nurse. I'm
sure there's still a lot of lessons you've learned.
Yeah, I'm good with communication. I'm good with the customer service. I love building those relationships, and he is good with the numbers and keeping everything lined up. So I'm very thankful. We work really well together because those are both of our strengths. And so together, it really works really well.
No late night arguments, nothing like that?
No.
Not even one?
No, but it gets exciting. So with the CRM, you kind of wake up to emails saying, so-and-so signed up and how many clients you have. So it's kind of a rush and like an adrenaline, like, oh, we have like 1 client new, we have 2 clients this week. So it's kind of fun to wake up and have them say, oh, we're looking for, weekly or bi-weekly service, and we're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's exciting. So.
And you're getting most of those from referrals or Google ads or?
So Facebook ads, Google, word of mouth, different mom groups, extra people. So if they have parties or extra things happening and they can't get to it, and they're setting up for a party or they have a wedding, and so we come in there like the day of or the day before and we clean it up for them, and they have like no issues and they don't have to worry. That's one less thing they have to worry about.
So you can do 24-hour notice. You can do, I need this done ASAP.
Yep. So we're in Hamilton County, that's where we service. So if you give us about a 12 to 24-hour notice, we'll be out there right away.
And I think your fees are very affordable.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your pricing. How did you determine pricing? I think pricing is an interesting thing in all business. At what point did you realize X is worth Y?
Yeah. So there are many ways to do it. There's no right or wrong way to price. You could do it square feet of the yard of the property.
That's a good point.
And you can do it per dog. You can do it per bucket. People have done it that way, like however much you fill, that's that amount. Or you can do per hour. You could do that. All sound very complicated to me. I just really wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to keep it clean. So I looked around just the different areas. So I actually didn't even know this service was around the Hamilton County area until my son noticed the neighbors getting that service. So we looked them up and we're like, oh, let's see, you know, how much they are and let's do a few dollars less. And so actually that company was $5 more than we were. A few months later, they came down to 25 cents less than us. So it's very interesting. But so we kind of just
push the market. I like it.
It was very
making enemies as soon as you start.
I couldn't believe it. So it was like, why would they change it? They were higher than us.
Yeah.
So, which is fine, you know. So across the board, I did find other scoopers around the area, and they were.
Is that what you guys call each other?
Yeah. So I like to keep it classy. I don't like to do like all that other the language for it.
Yeah.
But
you gotta find a good way to say it.
Yeah. So we tried to be in the middle. Like we tried to stay close to what everyone in the market is calling for.
Yeah, interesting thing. So you said that you're in a Scooper Facebook group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find the Facebook group? I know your husband obviously runs some Facebook groups, so did you think, hey, this might be a good place to go?
So when we were looking up information for my son, I had no idea any of this existed ever. So I Googled things, I Facebooked search things, and it just popped up and I said, oh my gosh, this is like a thing. There's thousands of people in that group. They're all over the world. Yes, they're all over the US, the UK, they're in London. And they all help each other out. It's been fantastic resources. I actually have a fun story for our logo. We had a guy from the Pet Waste Removal Facebook group. He was in power washing in Florida, and he saw our story about like my son, how he started it, how we got kicked out, and how my husband and I had to kind of start it again. And he's following the story, and he's like, I want to help you. I had never met this guy ever, and he's sending me so many messages and helping me out, helping us with the business, with the marketing. And he was saying that I'm going to help you with your logo. So he completely made the logo himself, because I was asking, who do I call for a logo? Who do I call for just different things like that to make it look more professional? And he's like, oh, I'll do it for you in a few hours. I never paid him. He did it all for free. I was shocked, just out of the goodness of his heart. So he's giving me different ideas and he's posting them on this group. And so he's like, okay, how do you like this? And I said, this is great, this is perfect, thank you so much. He gave me all the files for it. I could send it to the place to get our magnets. I can send it on any type of shirt, any type of material, and that it'll be for us. And he's like, I'm sending you everything, you own it now. I was so shocked and so floored by the support that he gave a complete stranger in a completely different industry. And so he did all of that, sent it to us, and this other scoopers on the Facebook group was like, hey, can you make me one? He's like, no, I'm doing this for her because of her story, because of I'm helping that family. Like, this is not me doing it. Like, he has a job. So he was just doing it out of the goodness of his heart. And I'm like, this logo would have cost hundreds of dollars, but we never had to do it. So I'm just so thankful for him to make it look professional and help it kind of keep going and move along.
And that's still the one that you use today?
That's still the one we use today, yeah.
So what kind of branding and pieces that you're putting your logo on to get out there marketing wise?
So we have...
do you guys do yard signs?
We don't have yard signs yet, because those are kind of illegal too. They could be taken away. So like if you get them okayed by your community, like if it's a garage to sign, that's fine. But like if you put the businesses on, people could take it, they could steal it. I don't want to waste that money for it. So mostly we have it on our vehicles. We have the magnets on both sides. We have it on our apparel, all of our uniforms. And we have it on the marketing on the business page.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, and different flyers. If we want to print it out, we can just print it out and give it away.
So your service area is Hamilton County-ish, right?
Yeah, we stick around Hamilton County.
Is that the majority of your current customers?
Yep.
Would you go outside of that for a delivery fee, or or you would stay within there?
I would say that would be outside of our service area, and I would just recommend them someone else.
Do you have friends in the industry locally?
No, we
Just
don't talk. No. We haven't discussed anything like that. We're still fairly new. We're only 2 years old.
It's still, we're changing the game.
Yeah.
Where do you see this going?
So,
because you got 5 more years, at least.
I know. I think about that too.
Until your son's back involved.
It's true. And the sky's the limit. We could franchise it. We could not. We can keep it small. We can keep it just family. I like to do that because it's more control on our side. We don't have to answer to anybody. We can just service our clients and have that personalized relationship with them. Like there's families that have babies and they have pregnancies and I'm dropping off, baby presents because they're due in like a month and I'm like, oh, here's like a new, gift, like I could do those little things and I like to recognize that. Like the personal touches, I like to do that. And I'm not so huge where I'm missing out on those details.
Yeah. So with those personal touches that you're doing, are most of those people sitting out there talking to you while you go out?
In the beginning, they did, yes. When I had my son out with me, but then after I said, hey, I'm going to be out there, I usually try to get there early in the morning for the summertime. I'm maybe in a yard at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning and done by noon.
Are you doing this throughout the year?
Yep,
12 months a year, so even in the snow
all
and
weather,
stuff like that?
all weather,
because that's
all
what
year.
I'm thinking about.
Yes.
Do you have rain days where you say, hey, I'm not doing this today?
We'll go out if it's lightly sprinkling. If it's thunderstorming and pouring rain, we'll hold off. We'll have to move the day. We'll shift it.
I could imagine you in just like this absolute raincoat.
Yeah, it's just, you can't see it. It's just a mess. It's so messy. So snow, we do it in the snow. We'll just pick it out. But there's a month, like February towards the end of that where it gets stuck, like it's ice. It's just like you have to wait for it to melt. And we won't go out if it's actively snowing because then we can't see anything. Yeah. But we'll do it in the snow. Whatever we can see on top, we'll scoop it up. And it's better because then it doesn't accumulate over 3-4 months.
Yeah.
And then it's just a big mess when the end.
Spring's always an ugly season in the backyard.
Yes. And that's where we get the most clients. The spring rush is where you make the most in the shortest amount of time. So we have probably to the end of March, maybe to the beginning of May, and it's all spring cleans.
Oh yeah.
You're going many hours.
So most of them are one-timers. Everybody does like a spring cleaning.
That's where the majority of them come in the very beginning of the year, and then that's where you hook them on to like a week service or a bi-weekly service to keep their yard cleaned and have us maintain it, maybe because they're busy or they're traveling or whatever the case. So that's what they like about, they'll try it once and they'll get hooked and, oh yeah, I really like this, I don't have to worry about it. So it's interesting. That's where you kind of get the most business and hook them for that year.
Yeah.
That's where you build it.
That's where you start the relationship. Yep. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. Building
relationships. So you've got 2 other children?
Yeah, so 3 boys altogether.
3 boys.
Yeah.
And your youngest one's 4?
Yeah, so 9, 6, and 4.
9, 6, and 4. Your other 2 involved? Or do they have their own interests?
No, not yet.
Well, 6, that's almost 7.
I know. He didn't have the drive my son had. He wasn't stuck in his room looking out windows.
I guess that's a good point. Is COVID? How was COVID on the kids?
We tried to keep it as normal as possible. So we still met up with friends. Like I said, we homeschool, so we did get together. We did parks as much as possible if they weren't shut down. So we did as much as we could to keep it normal.
And you were already working from home at that point, or your husband was?
Yes, he was.
So then that, nothing was too big of a change.
Right.
And you homeschooled prior?
Right. Oh yeah, from the beginning. So
yeah, it's not like they did not go to school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were kind of like, man, I could have used a little e-learning break.
Yeah. Oh no, they had no break. So ours, they're done in 1 to 2 hours. They are not stressed. Like it's very easy.
How does that work?
They have a program that they watch. They have so we use the Beck Academy DVDs. And they'll watch the teacher, they have their lesson, the teacher does it online. It's not live, it's pre-recorded. They have their worksheets that go along with it, and so they're done in like an hour and a half.
Well, they do the rest of the day.
They play.
They
play, they get to, we can do whatever we want. We can go hiking, we can go to parks, we can meet up with friends, so a lot of freedom, I love it.
That's crazy.
Start a business.
But don't put them to work, Indiana.
No, I know.
Jeez Louise. Nobody can get away with anything anymore.
I know.
So, what was your first job? How old were you?
I was 16. I worked at a Walgreens, actually. So this was walking distance from my house. So I was able to walk there, and I worked there for 2-3 years, and it was great.
What were some of the lessons you felt like you learned in your first couple of years of working for Walgreens?
Definitely the communication. I cried my first day. I mean, you're thrown in, you have no experience, and you're like, here you go, and you're sitting at the cash register, and all these people want their stuff, and you have to go fast and keep the line moving. And I cried like after my shift. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. I can't do this. But no, I was fine the next day, and I sucked it up, and I went back to work, and it was, I think, a shock to my system. So it was a good lesson in persistence and communication and keeping the line moving and time management.
I think that's pretty much exactly what your son learned.
I know, and it got taken away from him, which is not okay.
That's okay.
So,
it's frustrating, but everything happens for a weird reason. At the end of the day, we'll all be better for it.
mm-hmm.
The business is growing. It'll be thriving when he gets into it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. There's so many things to do with it, and it's not really a known market. It is very similar to if you needed someone to mow your lawn or wash your car or come and clean your house. It's not quite well known. It's not something that for lazy people, that doesn't make you lazy. It's just that's something that they don't want to spend their time on. It's like, are you spending your time or your money? Are you able to spend time with your family or clean up? So it kind of goes along those lines. If people say, well, that's lazy, why would you ever charge for that, or why would you ever pay for that? Well, do you go out to eat? Well, why? You can cook at your house, so just different things like that. Like they're changing their time for their money.
It's do it, ditch it, or delegate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking out front about, I had a mower issue, and I quickly decided after watching the YouTube video of how to fix the mower.
Yeah.
I was not in the position to fix the mower.
Mm-hmm.
So I could trade my 8 hours on a Sunday that I knew I would just be mad and broken knuckles.
Yep.
Or I could go back inside of my family and pay somebody $219 to do it themselves.
Yes, and you're stress-free, you're enjoying your time. It's much better that way.
Time is the only thing we can't buy more of.
Exactly.
So what you can do is you can exchange it for dollars instead.
Exactly.
Well, I love it. I love Speedy Scoop.
Thank you.
I hate cleaning up poop, but I have to do it every single time before I mow.
I know, and it'll get your mower dirty. And it'll clog it up too. So we have had clients ask if we can come before the landscapers. They'll have landscapers come on a Monday, and they say, could you come on a
can
Sunday?
you time it out so they're not running over it? Because landscapers don't care.
No, and there's more of them than us, so it's very hard to keep up with them, and they are much faster, but we have to keep our route density. We can't just cater to everyone's needs as much as we try to. So we'll say, this is your route, this is your day. We always keep them consistent, but we can't guarantee we're going to be Tuesday at 2:00. We'll be there, before landscapers come. But we'll try as best we can.
Yeah, and are people pretty responsive?
Yeah, they completely understand. Yeah. Our clients have been so amazing, so supportive, and I'm so thankful for them. This business has helped us put our son through private school, and it's not a stress for my husband because he's not holding the whole burden. So it's nice to be able to bring extra money to our family and do the fun things. I mean, it's going to a family. It's not going to a big corporation. We're able to provide our kids with other things, other experiences. So I've really appreciated that support from them.
So if you were to be talking to anybody who wants to start a small business or a small business service or something like that, what tips and tricks would you give to them?
I would say go for it. Like there's no is not in my vocabulary. If someone tells me no, I find a way around it. Like go for it, try any avenue that you can, be creative, look online. I mean, there's so many YouTube videos, there's so many websites that help you get started, and don't be scared. Like I didn't know what I was doing. We don't even own a dog. I
love that. That's fun. At least you don't have to do it when you get home.
I know. I don't own a dog, and I did this. So you don't have to have any experience. You just have to have the desire, the gusto, the goals, and you try it. You're not going to be great when you first start. We didn't have uniforms. We didn't look professional because my son was just starting out. No one expected us to. And as it grown, we wanted to do that and present ourselves with a professional look, a professional website. So we did make a lot of mistakes in the beginning, but it was not a big deal. Like we cleaned up the yards, and that was the main goal, but we were still learning. We wrote everything on paper and pen, and we texted individual people. So it was not streamlined. It was all organized, but it wasn't easy, for the client to onboard themselves. So I would say just go, and as you learn, you will grow.
Just get better every day.
Yeah, just get better every day.
Do you think you had that attitude before you started a business?
Yeah.
Did you have just as much?
Yeah, that's just my personality.
Well, good.
Thank you.
There's not a lot of people like that.
No, and I'm hoping to pass it along to my kids too. I see that in both my oldest and youngest. My middle one, he's very much like, who could I pay to get this done? Like,
he's gonna be a hell of a manager.
Yeah, he's good at delegating, not probably the work.
That you're gonna need that because you're gonna have two gustos who want to do. Yep. You're gonna have the middle and go, well, maybe there's an easier way to do this. Yeah. There's no such thing as lazy people anymore. I know. There's just people who want an easier way to do it.
I like that. That's true.
So they're gonna find a way around it, and sometimes it's gonna be a good way or a bad way.
Yeah. My youngest, who's 4, he's always wanting, can I get my boots? Can I come with you to go scoop? And I said, no, buddy, not now. But later on maybe he can. But he sees mom going out. He sees dad working. He sees that work ethic that I want to pass down to them too. Yeah. We're not sitting around waiting for a handout. We're serving our community. We're making those relationships, and we're flourishing with them. So we want to grow with those families. If they, their dog was their first baby and they have another baby, we're growing with that family. We're seeing those first baby steps. We're seeing that baby grow up, or we're seeing people buy new dogs and like they come out and they're like, look at our new puppy. Like, those are the relationships I love and build. Like, scooping is just like the minimum amount of things. We have these amazing relationships with all of our clients that I so appreciate, and they don't just see us as just here's the service coming. Like, they know us, we know them. We've had that relationship for 2 years already, and it warms my heart. I love it so much.
Well, good. I'm really excited for the future Speedy Scoop. 5 years from now, we're all going to fast forward, and this will be a news article. Or maybe the first 15 minutes of this will be a news article because we'll send it to somebody so that they can run it up the flagpole. But Cathi, thank you so much for coming on today. I had a blast. I'm really excited in this spring because I'll have 2 dogs to recover from our winter pet waste. Yeah. Let's say that a little bit better, right?
You did so well.
Thank you. Pet waste. I might need an extra hand.
Perfect. I'm happy to help.
I usually just throw it over the fence, another neighbor's yard. They can deal with it. They don't even have dogs. They won't even know.
They'll be like, where did this come from?
From the skies. Right? All right. Thanks, Cathi.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, guys. Thank you again so much for your love and support of the Performance Group podcast. For more information on the podcast, the Performance Group, or even our guests, feel free to reach out directly via our website, performancegroupindiana.com, or feel free to email me directly, which is Sean@performancegroupindiana.com. We'll see you guys next week.